Fire 'em up. Fire 'em up. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. And in the studio is my man, Blake Bartlam. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. Can't wait for the next 2 hours of radio. And we are streaming on Rumble. And we are streaming on X. And we're streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at the mothership that is 1039WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the stream, or the radio signal, pick up the stream, like, share, and subscribe. That'd be great. You can follow me on X. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. Blake, where can they find you?
They can find me at B Bartlam on X and then Blake Bartlam on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Phone number is open. So if you want to go ahead and chat today, we'd love to hear from you. The number is 601-879-0002. Text line is open. 601-879-5060. It was at Easter Sunday. You have a good service, man?
Yes, sir, we did. He is risen.
He has risen. We had a great one, too, as well. We had the Sweet B, Sweet Toots. Even Splinter made it along. Life was good. Life was good. And for me, there's really only one place to start, and it is about American exceptionalism and America, the military. And when we say we leave no one behind,
we mean it.
We sincerely mean it. And yesterday when I got home from church and started just checking feeds and scrolls and everything, I was blown away. I was taken aback, Blake, because the Europeans were sitting there. Oh, look, you lost 2 C-130s. You lost 2 small birds. You lost an A-10, all for this one guy.
Yeah.
And in our mental psychology, it's like, man, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, heck yeah, we did.
Yeah. And they're sitting here throwing a conniption fit. And then I look at our own side, the left. They're sitting there complaining that in this operation, we lost 2 C-130s, 2 small birds, and an A-10. And I'm like, did you see what Joe Biden did in Afghanistan?
Left them $86 billion of military equipment, completely funded their military. I mean, the Taliban had no standing army or, good, reserves or whatever as far as equipment is concerned until we left $86 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan, on top of getting 13 of our soldiers killed in the Abbey Gate bombing and several others injured.
Yep. They sit there and act like, oh, we weren't at war with Iran. We weren't at war with Iran. Well, you in America, in Seattle, with your pink hair and wiped out, blacked out face because you're gothing it out, drinking your Starbucks mocha latte, you might not think you're at war, but that crazy Iranian overseas who's screaming death to America and ready to bring death to the infidel, he's at war with you. So just because you don't think you're at war doesn't mean you're at war.
And that's something I really don't understand is you can agree, you can disagree with whether or not we should be over there, whether or not we should be bombing, whatever. But once the troops are over there, all of that you need to set aside and support our troops. And that's my position on it, is that I'm not necessarily happy that we're in Iran, but also understand that if you want to really get rid of this problem, you got to cut the head off, blow the place up, and then get out of there. And that's really just my position on it, and support the troops, absolutely.
We are behind our troops 1,000%. There's all sorts of these leftist intellectuals claiming war crimes who haven't actually read the laws of armed conflict, who haven't studied the rules of war, the rules of engagement, the Geneva Conventions. You blow up a water plant, that's a war crime. Well, it's a war crime if you're just blowing it up to blow it up. But if that water plant is supplying and aiding and abetting the enemy who you're at war with, guess what? It's not a war crime.
It's fair game. And, obviously it sucks for the people, but the people are the unfortunate casualty of war. And no one's saying it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, they're not going to play by the rules. So you should play by the rules, and the rules include stuff like this. I mean, Iran has funded Iran is the largest state funder of terror in the world. They supplied China with around 15% of China's oil. Venezuela did about 5%. So in the last couple of months, we have seen 20% of China's oil supply get taken away by the actions of the Trump administration. And that is what this is ultimately about. That is what this entire operation is about, is you finally have a president who's trying to reset the world order so that America is the top dog. And that comes with taking out terrorists, that comes with taking out drug cartels, and that comes with resetting world trade. And, I think that's just a larger thing that's at play here, and people may not understand it, and there's gonna be some unfortunate things that happen because of it, but
Yep.
ultimately, in the long run, this is what needed to happen, and I fully trust President Trump to make the right decision.
Could you imagine sitting right now talking about this with President Kamala Harris and Vice President Tim Walz? I mean, think about that. Like, everybody in the car is sitting there smiling, going, well, we were not going to say what you're saying because we're going to get an FCC violation. What's going to happen right there, fam? But we're all saying the same thing. Like, could you imagine her just cackling? What might have been are the things we must do so that we can dream to see where we will be tomorrow.
Let me just say this. The Ayatollah has been unburdened by what has been, and that is our tax dollars. So,
so that's really good. Have you heard about what the French have said about this?
Yeah, I remember I saw some posts on X, yesterday morning, and they were just like, y'all call it a win that you got one dude and wasted all this equipment. And it's like, well, and then someone, I think it was Nick Shorter, he posted on X, he was like, breaking news, the French surrender in the war against Iran already.
Yep.
And it just really shows the sort of the mindset that, most European nations and honestly most nations and even some leftists in America have, like you were saying, about the mindset of what it means to be an American, what it means to not leave a man behind, what it means to really be a war fighter. So,
as someone who did that for almost 21 years, since day one in boot camp, it drilled into us that no one will be left behind.
Yeah.
No one. You might be, we're talking brutality here. You might be coming home in a box, but we're coming back. We're going to get you. It might take us a week. It might take us a month. It might take us years. It might take us decades. Like we see the remains coming home from Vietnam and Korea now.
Yeah.
We don't leave people behind.
Yeah.
And that gives a certain warrior spirit inside everybody, a certain ethos to go out there and execute the mission.
And I think that sort of shows why America is the nation that it is today.
Yep.
That is why we are the top dog, especially when it comes to militarily, is that we have had this mindset where we put our people above whatever machinery or dollar sign number that there is out there. And the Europeans haven't done that. And, I'm not to be, ultra patriotic for the day or whatever, but that's why we had to come save y'all both world wars. So,
yep,
it's going to put it into perspective a little bit.
A French general is facing intense backlash after American forces successfully carried out a daring mission to rescue 2 pilots from deep inside Iran, an operation many had doubted was even possible. So that's like the first part of it, right, Blake? You say something's impossible, and we're sitting there looking at it like, oh, this is a problem. How do we fix the problem?
Exactly.
The controversy stems from his earlier remarks speaking about a proposed U.S. operation to build a runway inside Iran to evacuate uranium under active threat. He said American officials should stop snorting cocaine between meetings, mocking what he saw was reckless planning at the time. His comments drew ridicule and criticism. Now, those remarks are resurfacing as U.S. forces went under the hostile conditions, located their airmen, and brought them home. And oh, by the way, fam, we built a temporary runway.
And not one casualty as a result of this. The only injuries that the pilot had faced was from his ejection.
Yep.
Not from anything to do with the combat related to him getting out.
Which is really surprising to me because just being around that, dehydration is always something that we worry about. And I'm not saying that we did have it, but when they say no, not even a hangnail, dude, that's how good these people are. And everybody's sitting there saying, oh, it was SEAL Team 6. Oh, it was 160th SOAR. Let me tell you, I'm just going to say it like this is. Don't believe for a second who was there and who wasn't there. We had everybody there. Everybody had an important part to play. I mean, over 76 aircraft involved. Oh, they were talking about, different elements of this and different elements of that.
Yeah.
You had all the things were there.
They were.
And they were not going to lose. We were not going to fail this guy. And it's another really kind of a shocker to me as an Air Force flyer. That was a colonel.
Yeah.
Dude, he could be fitting to put on general here, and he is flying a combat mission, and he has -4, and oh, lucky day for you. You get an extra 2.5 days Syria experience.
And you know what the first thing that he said was whenever he got rescued?
What was that?
God is good.
Yep.
And that, I think that is really the ultimate story here, is that we have finally seen not only the administration, but the military understand that we are not the ones that are in charge of whatever's going on here. It is
Mhm.
God.
Yep.
And if we fight and we honor him and what we are doing, understand that we are taking on the Islamic terror regime of Iran,
Mhm.
I think it sort of puts it into perspective. And whenever we fight, knowing that he's in control, I think it shows that that's why we have been so precise. That's why we have been so lethal, and that's why we have been so successful. There we
I think that's why you're seeing the military come back too, is because this is just my mere 21 years of service. It's a very short time compared to, the length of the
Mhm.
our country. But God was always with us. It's just some leaders made him more welcome than others,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you've got to welcome God into your life. It's not, he's just not going to show up and say, Here I am to save the
Mhm.
day," like underdog or Superman
He
or
gives
something.
us the choice. Yeah,
Absolutely. And when we take that choice, good things happen.
absolutely.
And with what's happening around the world and in Iraq, and everybody's got this whole thing saying that this is the end times, they know what's coming. I would just say
Bible explicitly condemns that.
stick to scripture, keep your eyes open and your listen carefully, and don't discount what you see, but just realize only the Father knows.
Absolutely.
And there's just so much good that has come out of this service or this mission to rescue our two down
Mhm.
airmen, pilot F-15E pilot, F-15E Wizzo. We scooped out an A-10 pilot out of the drink, which is the Persian Gulf, and not so much as a hangnail to any of our snake eaters, and only I
Mhm.
think a busted up ankle
Yeah.
and some scratches and bruises, which you think, I mean, I've never ejected from a F-15E Strike Eagle. I do get the glorious comment to say I have flown in the
Yeah.
F-15E Strike Eagle, and it's a lot of fun. Man, good days at Mountain Home. But, ejecting was never part of that, and it is violent as all get out.
Mhm.
And, for us to be able to have a complete mission success there with getting those people out, and it's just setting up the next round of what we're about to go into.
Yeah, and, one more thing before we get into that, because I
Yeah.
think we know that's gonna dominate probably a whole segment's worth of what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
But can you the morale boost that is
Oh,
for our troops that are on the ground there? They've already had probably the most successful air campaign in the history of the world over the last month. Over
mhm,
11,000 strikes, only 2 downed aircraft as a result of, enemy
mhm.
fire.
Yep.
Just imagine that morale boost though that they have now. And this is one thing I saw. One of the parents of one of the fallen soldiers, one of the what is it, I think 12. He was saying, if Dad, I can't tell you what I know, but if the public knew what we knew, there would be a lot more support for this war. And I really just think that people need to set their feelings aside and support our troops on the ground and trust that our leadership is going to get us through this so that we can finally end this problem and make sure that the world is a better place as a result of it.
Absolutely. The morale that is going through is not only energizing the troops on the ground, but emboldening our leaders to make the more difficult decisions.
Yeah.
It's a circle. It's a self-feeding circle. The more strength and success that you have, the more success you can build upon success. It's going to be amazing. Let's talk about it. You are listening to Andrew Gosser on Andrew Gosser Show. I am with Blake Bartlam. We will be right back.
the back. Yes, sir.
Yes, General, French journalist, could you tell us why the French, who went very fast in the desert in the first day, stopped in Salman and were invited to stop fighting after 36 hours?
Well, that's not exactly a correct statement. The French mission, okay, on the first day was to protect our left flank. What we were interested in is making sure we confine this battlefield, both on the right and the left, and we didn't want anyone coming in and attacking these forces, which was the main attack, coming in from their left flank. So the French mission was to go out and not only seize Al-Salman, but to set up a screen across our left flank, which was absolutely vital to ensure that we weren't surprised. So they definitely did not stop fighting. They continued to perform their mission, and they performed it extraordinarily well. Yes, sir.
And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We are moving and grooving. Blake, we're here. And I guess the next thing that we need to talk about, we've talked about how successful we are over the weekend with retrieving our two U.S. Air Force airmen, pilot and a Wizzo, not two pilots, not aviators. It's a pilot and a Wizzo. They're home safely. We've got to talk about the reaction around the world and really what people are thinking. I kind of let the cat out of the bag with that one French general telling us to stop snorting cocaine when we want to build an airway in the middle of enemy territory.
Yeah.
And,
what have the French accomplished? I mean, that's my immediate reaction to it.
I've got a quote from General Norman Schwarzkopf here, and I didn't fact check this. And maybe I should have, but it seems right for the French, so I'm going to go with it. Norman Schwarzkopf said, bringing bringing the French to a war is like bringing an accordion to a hunt. You just don't need it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when we've got Europe, and this is what's really fascinating to me. You've got countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, even to a lesser extent, Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Yemen is just a lost cause right now. But Lebanon are all kind of working with the United States and Israel. We're all kind of singing from the same sheet of music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Europe that doesn't want any of this. And Europe is the one who's facing the worst immigration right now,
Mm-hmm. They're really good at trying to judge the U.S. for all that they do whenever they have so many problems themselves. I mean, Keith Stramer, or I can't remember if it was the Prime Minister or if it was Prince Andrew, whatever one of the ones I have over there. I don't pay attention much to the UK. Far more concerned with ourselves. But they didn't even put out an Easter message yesterday. You know who did? The president of India. How are they so far gone that they can't even put out an Easter message? They have been so overtaken by foreigners that they can't even do that. And the United Kingdom of all places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I really think that they're the ones that are going to see the most consequences from this. They get most of their oil from this region. And they're the ones that are closest to Iran. I really think that they should be more grateful that President Trump is willing to take the action necessary to free the world from this reign of terror that Iran has unleashed. And instead, they have not let us use bases. They have condemned it and doing basically everything they can not to help. And so I really just think that they need to be more grateful for the assistance of the United States of America. And I really think they need to take a long look in the mirror and see how far their countries have come from the great places they used to be.
Yep. Hey, I've got a hot take coming in, and I want to do it. But we were talking about Europe and Great Britain and their Easter message. I've got the King of England talking about how great Easter really is.
This, then, is why the wisdom and learning offered by a sacred tradition like Islam matters. and if I may say so, why those who hold and strive to preserve their sacred traditions in different parts of the world have every reason to become more confident of their ground. The Islamic world is the custodian of one of the greatest treasuries of accumulated wisdom and spiritual knowledge available to humanity. It is both Islam's noble heritage and a priceless gift to the rest of the world. And yet, so often, that wisdom is now obscured by the dominant drive towards Western materialism, the feeling that to be truly modern, you have to ape the West. To counter that tendency, I've done what I can with my School of Traditional Arts to nurture and support traditional and sacred craft skills, not least those of Islam, because they keep alive a perspective that we sorely need, even though short-term fashion deems them to be irrelevant. The geometry and patterning that is taught at the school is the basis of the many crafts that have been all but abandoned in many parts of the world.
And that is the King of England, everyone, basically saying that we forgot about Islam, but we need to bring its traditions back into the English culture. And
back into the English culture?
Yes. And, England, at one time, the sun never set on the English Empire.
Yep.
And now the only thing they got is Greenwich Mean Time.
Mm-hmm. They ruled half the world, and now over half their country is majority non-white.
They had to borrow a German destroyer to go and do an English mission. I mean, they're really falling off.
Yeah.
So Brother Rick and I, we have great combat, I guess you would call it. We spar, great back and forth. And I just want to read this to you because he's got some real questions here. And I think we can both agree, Blake, that right now MAGA is being ripped apart. We got the podcasters on one side. You've got...
I would say that the people that have sort of tried to latch on to MAGA are having a hard time with themselves. Now, I think it's shown that the people that have stuck with the president since 2016 are pretty much intact.
I agree, but there are people who have latched on, and we needed for victory for 2024. We needed to have those we'll call them latchers, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're all starting to do that. And Rick brings up some points. And so, and this is the other thing too. When I think the president goes too far, it's like, look, I don't agree with the president here. Now, I don't go full Thomas Massey or Rand Paul.
Yeah.
You can disagree with somebody and not be a jerk about it. But Rick brings up some questions here, and I want to do them. What are you all talking and smoking? You don't even sound like the person I talk to daily. 2 aircraft only lost. How many schools and bridges have they blown up here? I think they're worried about, and Rick, you're more than welcome to call in. We'll take the call too. But schools and bridges, as soon as they get targeted and identified as dual use, they are a legal target in war. And on my show last week, I was like, I'm a little bit different with this. I want to inflict maximum amount of pain in the beginning, just make it as miserable as hell to get through it.
That's what I think some people just don't understand is that this is war. I mean, we're not playing on the Xbox and we're not controlling the little pieces. This is real. This is real stuff we're dealing with here. And if you want to really get something done, you have to play hardball. And I think President Trump is the only president we have had in a very long time that understand this. Peace through strength comes with strength. He gave the Iranians every single option. Just sign the deal. Just sign the deal. Sign the deal. This is a country that tried to blow his head off, and he showed that level of restraint. And what he could have done the first day, he could have just blown everything up and gone on. That's what he could have done. But instead, he understands that the people there, they are suffering, and he's trying to eliminate that. But the Iranian government's refusing, so President Trump is just going to have to go through with his word. And I think there was only the one school that was hit. And I think that it was a former IRGC base, and so that's why they had the faulty intelligence on it. So I think only one bridge has been blown up so far. The Iranians still have 30 hours or so until the rest of them get blown up. So yeah, I really just think that this is war. This is real life. Hard decisions have to be made, and unfortunately, that's what we're going to see.
I have it's called proportionality, and I never liked it. I never did not follow it, and luckily the commanders that were appointed above me knew where I stood on things, and I think that's why I made it as far as I did, because they knew I wasn't going to go blow smoke up their butt.
Yeah,
I would tell them like it is, but they also knew that once the plan was executed.
That's the plan.
And they knew that I would sing from that sheet of music stronger than anybody out there. I was going to play my part.
Yeah.
Anyone threatening to destroy your power supply, anyone threatening to destroy your water, yes, actually, and this has been talked about in the mainstream news, not in the last year or two, but we have found Al-Qaeda operatives, terrorist organizations inside the United States with detailed plans of our water and sewer networks in major cities, power plants. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've tried. It's just that we've smoked them out. And the one thing I can say about our professional soldiers and FBI agents out there, when we do crack down on something like this, it's not always sit there, oh, look at what we stopped. Maybe sometimes it's better that it's just stopped and it just kind of brushed to the side.
And who do you think cares about the Iranian people more? The Islamic Republic of Iran that slaughtered 40,000 of their own civilians in January? Or the president who's willing to make a couple hard decisions so that ultimately that Islamic regime collapses? I mean, if you really want the freedom for the people, you don't appease the terrorist. You destroy the terrorist and let the people take over the government.
Anyone blowing up every person we send to negotiate and end the war, that has been one of the things that I would argue I've kind of appreciated is when you're dealing with you're not dealing with somebody who believes in Western values, Rick, like you and I do, like Blake, you and your family do. They don't believe in that. They believe that they're going to die for 72 virgins. And we've seen the videos on X of them strapping suicide vests to their 5 and 6 year olds and sending them into Israeli population centers. You've seen them use their kids to torment female IDF soldiers. You can go look at that too. And we're not the bad guys in this. We're really not. I don't necessarily want it, but then again, I take such a different view than necessarily it's the United States versus the Islamic Republic of Iran. I look at it more of as a good versus evil and the blueprint that's been laid out to us in the good book. But look, on that, we've got to take a quick break. We'll continue this discussion on the other side, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Andrew Gosser Show. I am with Blake Bartlam, and we will be right back. And we are back here on the Andrew Gosser Show. Blake, you were reading me something real quick. What was that about?
So Reuters reports that North Korea appears to be distancing itself from longtime partner Iran and carefully managing its public messaging to preserve the possibility of a new relationship with the United States after the Iran war, South Korean lawmakers said, citing their spy agency.
So you mean us acting tough on Iran has forced North Korea to reconsider their actions?
Yeah.
Imagine how that works.
I know. I mean, Iran was the supplier of all this stuff for Russia, China, Venezuela, North Korea,
Everywhere. They really were. And we're cutting the head off the snake. I want to continue this because I did get a text from a lady, and I want to kind of save that for the end of this, but I want to finish this up because I do believe Rick has got some good points that people who are feeling like that understand. That they say that we're hiding the casualties. You know, I think we've been really good about pointing out our casualties.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we lost the KC-135 extender, we lost 6 there. When the Kuwaiti FA-18 went rogue and shot down the 3 F-15Es, we talked about those. We talked about the 3 or 4 Scud attacks that have injured, I think, 16 different individuals. And also, I think our total loss right now was we've lost 13 valiant soldiers.
I think so.
And we're not going to let those deaths go in vain.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna hammer it. But this girl, and I'm not going to mention your name, said that she doesn't believe in what Trump's doing. What Trump's doing is of the devil, and that God doesn't use people like Donald Trump.
We're all sinners. So what does she mean by that would be my question.
I think what she's trying to say is that Donald Trump is not a good person, so therefore can't be used. And I've been waiting for this because I look at myself, man, I'm a wicked man.
Yeah.
I've done some bad
We
stuff
all
in the
are.
past. But God used Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Noah got drunk as heck and got buck naked in front of his family.
Mm-hmm.
God used him, right?
Turned Saul into Paul.
Yeah. How about turning Saul into Paul? That's one. How about Jonah? Jonah ran away from his problems.
Yeah.
He got it swallowed up by a whale and friggin' swam around for 3 days.
The Bible is full of Jesus turning horrible people into spirits and warriors for Christ.
Yep.
And that is like I think one of the theses of the Bible is that it doesn't matter how far fallen you are, Jesus is always willing to accept you back into his kingdom and can turn you into a force for good. And I think that's I really don't know why people don't understand that. And I wish people understood it more.
And I'll say, I'm just going to speak for myself as a human. I wish we didn't have to go to war, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I've got 3 combat cruises on an aircraft carrier, 4th with the Nimitz as an Air Force dude in time in Kabul, Afghanistan. You know, it's one of those things where I don't wish to go to war or pull the trigger, but if it's going to happen, I'd rather have my generation do it than have it be passed on to my sons and daughters and grandkids.
Absolutely.
And the United States we've got a lot of stuff internally screwed up. I think we can all agree that our Department of Justice is a shambles. Our judiciary is a shambles. Our Senate is a shambles. And even our House is a shambles. So we can focus on those things, but the Department of War and how we're executing this, and this is the other thing that really kind of bothers me about this, because I can take constructive criticism and say, yep, you know, we should be doing more. But under President Trump, our energy independence is way through the roof. We can actually sell energy right now.
Yeah.
We are at the mercy of the world oil market, which is why prices are so high.
Yeah.
And people's 401ks right now, they're looking really good because the price of oil is so high and everything is up. When this all comes back down, your 401k is going to go down, and now everybody's going to be whining and complaining that their 401k went through the floor. But to sit there and say that we're not calling it equally down the line, I think it is kind of a bit unfair, at least from my perspective and what on our show, the Andrew Gosser Show.
Yeah.
We've called it right down the middle. And, you know, let's talk about something, quite frankly, that Donald Trump put out that I don't disagree with. And this is the one thing, Blake, that absolutely blew up my phone last night. I honestly did not have this many texts and messages since I won my last campaign in 2017. I had over
Wow.
450, and people were like, what the heck is going on here? And this is Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rolling up, getting ready to get my Jesus on. I'm excited. Our church comes together, both services, one nice service, potluck dinner, seeing friends that I haven't seen, family coming in, just a great time. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped into one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the friggin' straight, you crazy rascals, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. And, everybody didn't mind the F-bomb, didn't mind being called a rascal, but the use of the word Allah in that freaked a lot of Christians out. And I'm being truthful. When my wife and I saw that, we're like, this is just too much. But people are saying he's basically calling it out. And, that's the thing about Donald Trump. You are going to get things like this where you're not going to agree with it. I can see why he did it to make it make sense to those who are practicing the faith in Iran, that they better get their affairs in order because it's coming. But does the president of the United States really need to do that?
That point to me, maybe it's because I'm Generation Z. That might just be it. But the whole the president shouldn't behave. I think that it's actually a breath of fresh air to a lot of people that the president of the United States is willing to be so brash and honest about how he feels about things. That he's not trying to put on this political filter in whatever he says and trying to be holier than thou. I personally think that he was just mocking him, and we can agree that maybe not mock him. But at the same time, you really can't show a lot of mercy to terrorists. And I think that in Allah, whenever you do translate it, it does mean glory. It'd be glory be to God is what he was saying there. So I think people are getting lost in the moral high ground and the moral grandstanding that's going on with all of it, instead of understanding that, regardless of what's going on, whether it's Easter or not, this is something that has to happen. You have to set this deadline so that a deal can either get put in place or you can cut the head off the Islamic regime.
I'm just, from my point of view and how I look at this, and again, recovering politician, I know I can say things without causing just to enrage the other side. I mean, it's fun to poke the bear. It's fun to trigger the lefties. Triggered!
Yeah.
You're triggered!
I do it on Instagram every day.
Oh, it's glorious. It's fun. 2016, that guy in the yellow vest sitting there. No. I mean, we all, but there are just places and times for it. And I used to make a lot more fun of that back in 2016 and 2017. But in today's society, that is so much more prevalent, where everybody's feelings are so much more important than the facts of life around them.
Yeah.
I mean, I can come out to you, Blake, I'm looking behind you. It's a cloudy day with some darker clouds out there. You probably got about a 15-20% chance of rain. And you can say, dude, it's sunny and blue. And that's what my facts are. And that's my faith. That's my belief.
So my truth is what people,
And, well, your truth is great, but your truth is not facts.
Yeah.
And so I think we're living in a world where we are getting caught up in our own truths with what's really happening. And that's war is probably the number one place in all of humanity.
The truth is the first casualty.
Yep, it is. And I was watching it last night. Oh, I was getting so fired up. I was watching 3 simultaneous live streams about what was going on, all from military guys. One was an F-15E pilot, Thunderbird pilot. One was a Green Beret snake eater, and one was a SEAL Team 6 kind of guy. And the propaganda that was being perpetuated out there, not by any of those 3 gentlemen, but by the chat groups and
Mhm.
it's horrible. These people who are living on X,
Yeah. X is not a real place.
X, you go to search out the information. It's a good idea to ask Grok if it's true, and then get the heck off of it,
Mhm.
because you might. I mean, you even click on something on a topic that you think is kosher, and you find out, holy crap, that's not so
Yeah.
kosher.
I mean, if you spend all your time on X, you thought it was you would think Thomas Massey is the most popular politician in America.
Yeah.
Whenever if he ran for president, he'd be lucky to get 1 million votes. And the feature that Elon put out recently, where you can see where people are from and like the location of their account, has been so funny, because half of the people in these replies and all the Massey bots or whatever, they're from like Pakistan, and they're not from here,
Nope.
and let alone his congressional district in Kentucky. But I digress.
Yep. Hey, we got to take our last commercial break of the hour. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. I am with Blake Bartlam. We will be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show. 1 hour already in the can, Brother
I
Blake.
know, flies by.
It's screaming by. You know, there are so many people out there making so many complaints about what America is doing wrong. I think we sometimes need to go back and say, hey, this is what we're doing right.
Yeah.
And the things that we're not doing right, we can disagree with, but let's not like ruin family relationships over it.
100%.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater, set yourself aflame. We're just seeing some craziness go down, and it's just not what this. We're supposed to be coming together right now,
Yeah.
as we do this, because I mean, if we are not successful in Iran, you are talking about a Russia, China, Iranian worldview,
Yeah.
because they're going to control all the oil. And the United States, oh, we'll be all fine by ourselves. They will ascend quicker. United States will not be the major power player on the earth. And people's like, we don't want that. We don't want that. Well, your lifestyle demands it. If you want to go live in Seattle, dye your hair pink, have a nose ring, and go get your cafe mocha latte at the Starbucks.
I mean, why do you think President Trump did what he did in Venezuela, in the Panama Canal, what he's doing now in Iran, the tariffs? I mean, this is all to prevent that. And I'm very thankful that I'm not going to have to grow up in a world where China's the top dog. I don't want to live in a world like that.
And we were, you know, with the different agreements that not only Obama put us in, but George Bush put us in, and Clinton before that. I mean, this is just didn't start yesterday. This has been going on for a while.
Trump is trying to end it, not start something new. I mean, I wish we had a president 47 years ago that was willing to take the steps so we could have avoided this for the last century. And 2,000 something American lives later, here we are finally ending it.
You know, they say that a pound of cure is a lot heavier than an ounce of prevention. Ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And right now, we're not just having to pay the pound of cure; we're having to pay the tons of cure.
Yeah, we are.
And just like the tons of cash, that President Biden, or I'm sorry, President Obama sent over to Iran. Where do you think they got all the money to do all this?
Yep.
It was us. Just like with the fraud schemes that are happening in California, in Minnesota. I mean, it's everywhere, Blake.
And a lot of that fraud money was being sent back to the Middle East. Just gonna put that one out there.
Yep. Oh, have you seen how Somalia is booming with construction?
Yep.
It's looking like it's a downtown,
totally different place. Yeah.
Brandon or Madison.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not looking like a Chicago or a Memphis.
If we keep it up, it will be though.
Yep. We got to be aggressive on this, and we got to call it out. And when we don't agree with things, we got to make sure that we do so in a way that it says, yep, okay, we disagree, but we just don't cut each other off.
And I will say this is the fact that if Trump didn't win, if Trump was not our president, you wouldn't be knowing about any of it. And if anything, it'd be a lot worse than whenever we found it.
You'd be having like an ostrich. Your head's in the sand and you're not knowing any better.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We're going to take a quick 7-minute break. We'll be right back. Fire them up. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show. It is hour number 2 on 103.9 WYAB. I am here with my man Blake Bartlum. How you doing, brother?
Still doing great, man. Glad to be on.
We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick us up on our 50,000 watt blowtorch that is 103.9, like, share, and subscribe to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's that easy. You can find me on X at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. Blake, where can they find you?
They can find me at B Bartlum, so that's at B and then BARTLAM on X, and then Blake Bartlum on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
He's out there, ladies and gentlemen, moving and grooving. 17-year-old outmaneuvering 80% of the American population out there through social medias. We're lucky we have him here in Mississippi. Look, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show, no matter who's the guest, no matter what the topic is, it's standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. I planted it. Apollos watered it, but it was God that gave the increase.
Amen.
And we were sitting there, and you know, we could sit there and talk about national stuff. What really kind of gets me, though, is sometimes we are so focused on what Trump's doing, what's happening in Iran, what's happening in Europe. I mean, those are all great topics, and we do need to bring them up. But sometimes I feel we need to focus on what's going on here at home. And I'm getting this story out of the Magnolia Tribune. I want to make sure I click the right story here. And this is coming from our man Frank Quarter out of Magnolia Tribune. Mississippi March revenues exceed estimate by $20.5 million. Whoa, what was correct there? Days after lawmakers headed home from the 2026 legislative session, and the Legislative Budget Office released the March revenue collections report showing that the state took in $20.5 million, or 3.86% above the estimate. So despite all the gloom and doom coming from the Democrats inside the state of Mississippi, how we're the worst, how we don't have the best Medicare, we don't have the best education, they're always just trying to tear people down.
I know.
It bothers the heck out of me. We're coming in above average. And what I tell people as, you know, I am a carpetbagger. I've moved from the People's Democratic Republic of Illinois. No, I did not bring any of the Illinois politics down here. I'm an Illinois refugee. We want to keep Mississippi basically the way it is.
Yeah.
We love our open spaces. We love our neighbors, whether they be in a suburban network type of environment, or whether we're more in a farmer's environment. We want to keep Mississippi the way it is. And the fact that we're having growth, I think it's awesome. I like your opinion on that, Blake. How do you feel about?
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree that Mississippi is a great place, and it's getting better every single day. And I think that eventually we're going to get leaders that are going to come in and understand that we can take the charge. We don't have to be followers. We can be leaders. But it really irks me whenever people just dog on Mississippi nonstop. Mississippi has the second fastest growing economy in the country. Our education is, I think, almost top 10, I believe 15 or 16. And the more and more that we take an approach to education with conservative policies, cutting off admin, the bloat that is admin in public education, those numbers are going to get even better. So this is a state that, despite all of its setbacks, despite what everyone says about it, is a state that is, in my opinion, the best place to live in the entire world. And it really bothers me whenever people because they don't understand Mississippi at all. They've never been here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand what it's like to live here. They still think Mississippi is the Mississippi of the 60s, if you know what I mean when I say that.
Yep.
But it's just not the case. And I wish people would understand. They would look at the history of Mississippi. I mean, just Faulkner, Jerry Rice. I mean, just the Elvis. I mean, oh my gosh, the amount of rich history, the nature of the place. I wish people understood Mississippi for what it is. And it really irks me when people just dog on it for no reason.
My family still looks at me a little bit funny when Mississippi, and my oldest son, well, my sons who have come down to visit, they're like, Dad, I see why you like it here. We don't like the humidity and the heat, but we see why you like it down
Small
here.
price to pay.
And if the worst thing I got to deal with is the humidity and an occasional threat of some severe weather, well, then sign me up, because I'm not having to deal with snow. I never want to see snow again in my life. I was here when it snowed. When was it? Back in 2020?
Yeah.
That was crazy. We had our house in Madison, and our farm was in Terry, and I was having to drive from Madison to Terry every day to feed the chickens and the sheep. It was because we hadn't moved into our home yet.
Yeah.
But the animals were there. The animals showed up, and the contractor was like, "Well, we still got another 2 months on this." We're like, "Whoa." So, but and the thing that I want to understand is it's all a work in progress.
Yeah.
Like you're a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. Everybody listening to this program's a work in progress. Mississippi's a work in progress. And when I get a chance to promote the good stuff that's happening, because we can all go down the black scroll, doom scroll, whatever you want to call it, the black pill, doom scroll. I don't want to go down that. Although on days like Friday, when this was all kicking off about losing the F-15, and the first images I saw were clearly AI. And then the second set of images, I'm like, wait a minute, this is not AI.
Yeah.
And people wanted my opinion on how I felt right then. And I can remember just saying, well, you know what? I'm not in the CAOC, the Combined Air Operations Center. I'm not in the JTOC, Joint Task Operations Center. So I'm going to let the professionals who are wearing the uniform and in doing the job. Now, granted, I know those checklists, they're ingrained into my brain. I know exactly what's happening. I can sit there and look and say, oh, yep. But I'm not going to sit there and go down that black pill road. But I understand those who do. And I'm just trying to be an encourager. I'm trying to be a Barnabas, always encouraging people. But in saying that, I want to make sure that people understand that Magnolia Tribune just doesn't report the good news. They report the other stuff too.
Yeah.
General fund collections for March 2026 came in at $3.8 million, or 0.7% above prior year annual collections for March. Sales tax collections for March were $7.2 million above the prior year, which is good. And individual income tax collections were $1.2 million above the same month the previous year in Mississippi. It continues to grow. But, and there's always a but, not all items were in the black year over year. Corporate income tax collections for month over month of March were below the prior year by $6.4 million. So corporations are paying less taxes. Before heading back to their districts, lawmakers set this upcoming 2027 fiscal year state budget at just under $7.4 billion. And I don't have how the Mississippi state budget has grown over the past 4 years. I guess I can get on Grok during the break and have it graphic for me. Grok, I mean, Illinois is a bane because you can just get rock gutted so quickly and melt your mind. But if you actually use it for Grok, create me a chart over Mississippi's growth, financial growth over the past 10 years, it'll do that for you.
It will. It's amazing.
And what would take you 10 minutes to plot it out on Excel and do all that, it will do in 15 seconds.
Yeah. And
if you have the updated Grok, it does it even quicker. It's glorious. It's beautiful. But so, there were some places where we didn't get the corporate tax. How do we make that up in the next year? I'm not a legislature. I personally am more of the flat tax and a consumption tax kind of person.
I agree.
I think I've been saying this since 1994, and people really looked at you funny when you said you were a flat taxer back in 1994. But we just tax what you can consume. You save your money and you grow it and you just let it go. And when you need to buy something, well, that's when you pay the tax.
I mean, and that's what ultimately stimulates the economy is growth. I mean, and so the more that you take, like my economics teacher, he's listening right now, so he'll really appreciate that I say this. But it's whenever you give them that corporate tax rate, they don't put it in their pocket; they invest it into the economy.
Yeah.
And that is what people don't understand about the tax, because it only benefits the rich, the 1%, whatever. No, they put it back into the economy, and that's why after the Tax Cut and Jobs Act was passed in 2017, you saw 7 million jobs created in around 3 years before COVID, and 700,000 of those jobs were manufacturing brought back to the U.S. I mean, that's huge. And all it took was cutting the tax rate a little bit. And so if you really want to stimulate the economy, you want to get people moving and stimulating, you let them keep more of their money because they know what to do with it a lot better than the federal government does.
Absolutely. It's a fact that you know what you need to accomplish what you need to get done in the day.
And that goes from money to education to parenting. Sorry to
Yep.
interrupt you there, but that is something that is true just for all of life.
It is, and we're getting away with it because the administration portions of our budgets are just ballooning, whether it be the
Insane.
administration of the school budget, the administration of the transportation division, the administration of the legal division. You know, we've got to get rid of it. That's a great job where you can get rid of some of those administrative jobs and put some AI just sits there and watches the money and says, this is where the money's going, and have the decision makers at the very top make that happen. I think your economics professor needs to give you a +2 extra points.
Oh, he did. Don't worry.
2 extra points for having a positive influence upon the greater Jackson, Mississippi area listening audience. That'd be really great. Hey, we're going to take a little bit of an early break. We are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. I am with my man Blake Bartlam, and we will be right back. Oh yeah, it It is the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I'm here with my man Blake, and we were just talking about, hey, Mississippi got some extra revenue coming into the kitty. Let's hope our politicians in Jackson don't spend that revenue. Let's put some of it away. Let's go build a road or a bridge.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about how I was an Illinois carpetbagger, recovering politician, and I'm not bringing any of that Illinois craziness virus stuff down here. And I got this from an unknown texter, and it worked right well in the story. So when I worked at the casinos, one of my friend's cousins came from Los Angeles because of what she saw on TV and in the movies. She thought we were all barefoot and nothing but dirt roads. You know, I can't agree with it more. My mom thought for sure it was Bo and Luke Duke with the General Lee and Boss Hogg. and what makes me really sad is that my family has never come down to visit me. My kids have, and they realize how awesome it is down here. They were actually looking at buying Brandon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a job opportunity too good to pass up in Wisconsin opened up, and I'm like, enjoy the snow, enjoy the cash, enjoy the snow. I'll come up and visit in the summertime, but I'm not gonna anything below 40 degrees. And I'm like, what is this sorcery? I don't want any of it.
We go up there. My mom's family lives in Indiana, and we go up there almost every winter, and it's just horrible. Like, obviously, family's great or whatever, but the weather and it's just brown and flat. So it's just like it's just and it's always cloudy. It's just depressing.
Dude, I feel the same way in Illinois. In the wintertime, it's brown, flat, and just like a malaise has set in over the people.
And the people are so like cranky and rude, and it's just. But part of me is also happy that people have that perception of the South in Mississippi because it keeps them away. It keeps what we have special. So I think there's a double-sided to that. Part of it does make me happy that you really don't know what you're missing, and thankfully I get to keep it because of that. So.
Yep, there is this push by the left inside Mississippi to talk about the Mississippi brain drain, about how our population is either going down slightly or goes up just ever so slightly, but we're basically pretty much maintaining our current population, which is, I believe, 2.9 some million people. You know, I would like to get a little bit more. If we got a little bit more, we get an extra congressman.
Yeah, heck yeah. Another electoral vote for.
Yep, make it a little bit more red of a country. That's always good. But, you know, I love it. So for me, when I come here, I clearly see things from outside perspective. As you've gone up and you're about to be a graduate.
Yeah.
Northwest Rankin High.
Yeah.
Class of 2026.
Oh, yeah.
World, get ready to meet Blake Bartlum.
Oh, I have the Facebook post ready for whenever I graduate. Just don't worry. Just wait.
Oh, you already got it pre-programmed?
Yes, sir.
Oh, do you like save it and have it ready to like?
Yep, copy and paste out of my notes section and ready to go.
See, that's just incredible. What are some of the things that you see about Mississippi that if you could tell people from outside of Mississippi how great we are that they maybe don't realize? What would just two of those things be?
I would say that it's hard for me to put in only two.
Well,
but
it's more. I didn't want to like bomb you with
no,
like
you're
50.
good. It's just because it's like I think it's really just if I had to just like write a description of the state in a few words, it really would be faith, family, and freedom.
Yep.
Is that we honor God, we respect our family. We're all basically one big family, and we understand that freedom. You have the freedom to do what you want in Mississippi.
I completely agree with that. And I've had some very liberal friends who want to leave Illinois because of the economic conditions and have called me and said, hey, should we move to Illinois or move to Mississippi? And I was very frank with him. I was like, dude, you don't want to move to Mississippi. He's like, why? Like everybody goes to church on Sundays. Oh, I don't want that. Yeah, you need to go to Florida or something. And I'm like, disaster averted.
Yeah.
We did not need that kind of cancer, political cancer moving down here. And I love the fact that I can go in my backyard. I can puddle around on my side-by-side if I want to. If I want to break out my AR-15 and do some target practice.
Exactly.
I've got and everybody's like, you better know where you're shooting. I am quite aware of my muzzle awareness and trigger discipline. I realize where my round is going to go if I miss the target into the berm that we've got built so we don't go blowing up our neighbor's house. You know, I can go do all those things. In Illinois, you start popping gunshots and people start hitting the deck, and 911 is called, and helicopters are flying overhead.
Yep.
And not like visiting Kid Rock either. I'm talking the big spotlights and.
I saw something. I don't know. I don't remember if I fact check. I don't think I did, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's true. But more people were shot in Chicago this weekend than we've lost lives in Iran over a month or whatever of conflict.
You want to know what? Keep talking about that. I will ask Grok while we get this put up here.
Mean, that's insane to think about. Is that we have American cities that are deadlier than not a global, but a conflict we are having in the Middle East, where we have dropped over, tens of thousands of bombs.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane to think about. It's truly insane to think about. And that is an American city whose leadership has failed their people time and time again. It's a city whose leadership has declined help from the president. And because of their feelings or whatever about Donald Trump, the people of that city are suffering. And that is why Chicago is known as Chirac among the populace these days. It's because it is a city that they have allowed the criminals to fester so that the rich can prosper.
Okay, Grok is puking on me, and I should have said succinctly because it's just like the little bar is going up here. So approximately 97 to 99 homicides have been reported this year. That's coming from WTTW. That's the local news station there.
So you break that down per month. I mean, that's what, like 20 something a month right there?
Yep.
Wow.
And we've had 14 to 15 confirmed deaths in Afghanistan. That includes, the 6 on the KC.
In the friendly fire. Yeah.
KC-135, which, I mean, when you're overseas and you're fighting a war and you make the ultimate sacrifice, it doesn't matter whether it was in a refueling accident or front lines.
Yeah.
We lost 6 heroes that day. And I think we need to make sure that we always honor and respect the fallen. And that's what I like about President Trump too. If they're coming back to Dover, he's there.
He is there.
And, he's got his hat on because, let's be honest, President Trump's hair, it can go a little bit haywire. So he got the hat on. Nothing wrong with that.
It says USA. I mean, what's wrong with that?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And he's out there saluting. And you notice how his salute is a real salute?
Yeah.
It's not like this little, I mean, it's crisp, it's firm, and he pops it up to his eyebrow like that.
And people always, anytime he does that during the national anthem or whatever, they're always like, he's not a military. He is the commander in chief.
Yep.
And I'd much rather have my president do that than just put their hand over their heart or whatever. I think it really shows how much he cares for the people.
It just goes to show you that the military actually knows what it's doing when it's allowed to fight a war without all the social justice warrior stuff. That's absolutely great too. They had a picture just 2 years ago of all these men wearing skirts and makeup and blush in the Pentagon. And that's all gone now.
Trump fired those people, and Hegseth has gone in. Raising Cane, the Joint Chief of Staff.
Yep.
I mean, they've gone and they've cleaned house, and the American military I don't think it has ever looked this crisp, this precise, this lethal.
We're talking
whatever it's doing.
Like since I was active duty, 2007, 2008. Because even when I retired in 2011, you could start to see the inundations of wokeness. It wasn't necessarily too bad, but you were just seeing, something's not right with that new lieutenant that we're training up to be an ABM. And what is it with her that it is? And you couldn't quite put your finger on it. She made the standard, on she goes. Yeah. But literally they come up and now they're full blown captains. You're like, oh, we made a mistake there. We made a mistake there. And we had to live with that. But so with faith, family, and freedom with Mississippi, what are some of the other things that you really have enjoyed? Because like for me, raising our daughter here, who's not originally from Mississippi, I actually like the schools that we've gone to. We've been to public schools, and then when we moved to Hinds County, we went to a private school, obviously. But what are you? Well, not too many people have. There's one guy, one texter. He always tells me he thinks I'm a racist for not sending my daughter to a public school, and I'm just like, what? No, yeah. There's a whole
People these days. Anyway,
there's a whole YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel and go to videos, you'll see it.
Is it the phone? Did he call in?
Yeah, but he didn't want to be on the radio, so he talked.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this is the beautiful part about it. He only would talk during the commercial breaks, so we talked during the commercial break, and I still made a video out of it,
Yeah.
monetized it, so it's beautiful.
Heck yeah.
But what has your experience been with Rankin County schools?
Well, Rankin County schools, I mean, they've been great. So I think I've talked about it the first time I was on here. Oh my gosh, it's almost a year ago now, Andrew. The first time that I was on here, that just now kind of set in. Wow,
it goes quick.
It does go quick. So it's been really good. So I transitioned from JA, and then rest of 8th grade I was homeschooled, and then starting high school. So 2022, I went to Northwest Rankin, and my parents made that decision, all sorts of reasons. But Northwest Rankin it's honestly surprised me how good of a school that it is. And I think it could be even better once we start to get rid of like the Common Core and the standardized tests that basically can confine teachers to what they have to teach, how fast they teach it, and how in depth they can go on certain things or whatever. But I think it is a very good school. I definitely think Northwest Rankin is better than Hartfield, which is the closest private school to where I'm at, especially for the price. I think it's a great school. It's an A district. I think it's one of the best schools in the state. And I think if you're looking for an affordable, well, obviously it's free other than taxes.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for a place to send your kid in Rankin County, if you live in Northwest Rankin, I think you're in a great school district, and there's nothing wrong with sending your kid to school there. Just raise them right at home and make sure that you're the one raising them and not the teachers or the iPad raising your kids. That's all I could say. And that goes for anywhere. I think that even goes for private schools.
Yep. I think, unfortunately, this, what I'm calling the iPad generation, they've been conditioned to live off of their iPads and not that human interaction. Do we dare take a call? You want to take
Let's
one?
do it.
Let's do it. Let's make sure. Hey, caller, you there?
What's up, my brother? What's up?
Brother Rich, what's going on?
Man, your boy there has put it on a tee for me. He has teed it up.
Let's hear it.
I'm hearing all this praise about Northwest. Okay, I got you. Okay. I can tell you this, and I've told my brother, Mr. Gosser, the same thing. My grandchildren will never attend a public school, and I taught at Northwest Middle. They will never attend a public school. If I have to sell peanuts and apples on the side of the road, they will never be in that environment.
I will say this. I can't blame you for saying that. But Northwest definitely surprised me, but I 100% understand probably where you're coming from. Because some of the stuff I've seen, I definitely am very thankful for the raising I got at home. Well, my son has a similar background to you. He was actually homeschooled until the 6th grade, and then he entered Rankin County, and then he was able to finish at East Rankin Academy, which, to quote him, said, "Got me ready for college." Okay.
And he said, "No." He said Brandon would not have done that.
Brandon's a terrible school.
I came from a business background where I was required to hit quotas, numbers, goals, structured environment, get to work, be on time, do what you're supposed to do. And then I got into the school system with, what? You mean we don't have to do homework? Oh, you mean we don't have to behave in class? Oh, you mean we don't? And the list of don'ts far exceeded the list of requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so my biggest issue, and I've shared a number of these with Mr. Gosser, is the ridiculous 60 is passing in school.
I can agree with you on that 100%. I think there should be, and I wish there was, a lot higher standards and less acceptable, less acceptable about what they allow in terms of discipline. And that's what I was saying. I wish that they would get rid of the Common Core. I wish they would, because there's some good teachers in there who I think are just held back by what they have to teach and how they're allowed to really enforce the rules in their classroom.
Oh, brother, you are speaking to that exact form that you just described, because my daddy was a United States Marine. Discipline was part of my life, and all of a sudden, not so much.
Yeah.
And I'd like to teach in depth, and the kids that liked it loved it.
Oh, yeah.
The kids that didn't hated it. But that particular, and I'm going to say this, and you're probably not aware of this, but nobody, let me say that again, nobody fails in Rankin County, period, unless
He's right
you
about
burn
that.
the building down or something of that nature. They are not going to let that A school standard be changed or undone or tarnished. If they have to change scores, if they have to modify test results, whatever they got to do, we got to be an A school.
Yeah, I've watched them do it before. I've seen teachers put it into
Oh,
the
yeah.
computer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the pressure, and oh, by the way, I just found out, I don't know if you watch Facebook, but they made the announcement. Guess what they're going to start installing in the middle school now? Have you heard?
Yeah, tomorrow they're actually putting the metal detectors in the high school as well.
Metal detectors. How about that, Mr. Gossett? Metal detectors. Hello. Now, I'm not against those. I think that's a great idea. But what have we come to? Rankin County, we got to do metal detectors. Well, it's the world we live in. I get it. But I'm going to tell you what's going to be fun is when the Joe Bob shows up at school with his pocket knife that he's always carried with him his whole life, as opposed to another student showing up with some sure enough ill intentions.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to deal with that? That ought to be a circus right there.
It will be. Tomorrow's going to be interesting for sure.
Yep, going to be fun. But brother, I hear you singing the praises, and probably why is because you were a good student. You applied yourself. You actually took the challenge that was presented to you in the classroom. But unfortunately, it's like I told my principal, if I work with a guy at wide receiver for 6 months and he looks at me and says, I don't even like football.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy made me come out here. There are some kids that don't want to play school.
Yeah.
They don't want to be there. They're there for social environments, and those are disruptors that are not dealt with in a manner that should be dealt with. And you know this. But when you got a great student, I see kids I graduated with that have graduated, and they're out, and they speak to me, and I'm glad to see them, and they ask me to remember their name, and I go, I just don't. That's a good thing. That means you're probably a pretty good student.
Hey, Brother Richard, I appreciate the call, but we're a little long, my friend.
All right, brother. Thank you for your airtime. God bless you. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Appreciate you
Have
too,
a good
Brother
one.
Richard. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show. That was Brother Richard. I am with Blake Bartlett. I am Andrew Gosser, and we will be right back.
Look at this, net favorability. Party ahead at this point, midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006 on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply put running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate, given that math.
To be clear, both parties are wildly unfavorable
Correct.
right now. However,
Democrats are even more unpopular than
Right.
Republicans.
some of these charts
Look at this, net
Yeah, welcome back to. Come on now, welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. You are tuned into the most interesting show mid-morning in Mississippi. We're not all red-pilled. We're not all black-pilled. We're not all blue-pilled.
That's what I say on Twitter all the time. Stay frosty, no black pilling patriots.
No, you can't be. You can't be. But there's a lot of my good friends, man. They're just going down that doom and gloom path, and it's just, for me personally, especially with everything I'm going through health wise, it's just not healthy for me to do that. It's not healthy for me to do that. And there are bits of news out there that kind of support what I'm saying. Listen to this, brother Blake. Listen to this.
Look at this net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006, on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply put running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate, given that math.
To be clear, both parties are wildly unfavorable
Correct.
right now. However,
Democrats are even more unpopular.
Right.
Imagine how much of a cakewalk it would be for the Republicans in the midterms if they would just pass the SAVE Act.
It would be auto win. It would be an auto win. The fact is that President Trump has really set us up for success,
He has.
for victory. But you've got these individuals out there who are on their own program who think it's all about them and not about the team. You know, they're like these super sports stars on the team. They're fabulous athletes. You know they are. You pay them billions, but they ain't bringing home the gold. And
Yeah.
President Trump is all about bringing home the gold.
And he's done like everything he can constitutionally that he is allowed to do with executive order, with, pitching everything he can to Congress for them to do. But ultimately, if you're going to get something permanent done, Congress has to pass the bill. And that's why the one big beautiful bill being passed as reconciliation was so important, because it encompassed everything. It funded ICE. It got the tax cuts permanent. It did all sorts of things with regards to the border and everything. So, I mean, they've teed it up for him. President Trump has teed exactly what they need to do. When is the last time we have had a piece of legislation, especially with the magnitude of the Save America Act, gone through Congress with 80% of Americans supporting it? And certainly not in my lifetime that's happened. I don't know about yours, but this is a perfect opportunity they have, not only to secure the next election, but to secure our elections for the rest of the history of this country. And it's so easy for them to do, yet they refuse to do it.
I'm really shocked that the right isn't out protesting. You know, the left goes out and does the No Kings Day.
Yeah.
I find it ironic that in Britain they have the No Kings protest. The biggest protest out of them all was in England, protesting their own king. I mean, it's so rich and delightful.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Getting back to the Save America Act, it has to be done. And, some people say that you have to break the filibuster. We've shown in ways that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
The House passed it,
Yeah,
and sent it on a priority message, so it was privileged. It didn't have to go through quorum. It didn't have to go through the filibuster. Thune can bring it to the floor right now and just have an up or down vote. Now you have to speak on it. I guess you could have the speaking filibuster. All right, whatever.
That is so much harder to enforce actually than the regular filibuster.
And I'm not sure if people outside this radio show actually know about that. I've spent 2 different days on it, different times of this program on it. So people sometimes tune in, sometimes they tune out.
Yeah.
They don't get to hear it. But we could have that right now. And if we had that,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you would talk about landslide victory, and we wouldn't have to worry about the Thomas Masseys or the Rand Pauls
Yep.
or the MTGs. It's infuriating.
And
to me
my
personally.
personal opinion is that if we have to nuke the filibuster to pass it, so be it. The next time that they get control of the House and the Senate and the presidency, if they get a trifecta like they had the first 2 years of the Biden administration, they're going to get rid of the filibuster regardless. They're going to pack the courts. They're going to restrict our rights severely. And they're probably going to try to change the Constitution to fit whatever they want because they're going to pack the courts. I mean, if the power grab that these people and what they're going to do whenever they get back in charge, who cares? Who cares about the filibuster at that point? We're going to have a lot bigger fish to fry if they get back in control. So go ahead, pass the Save America Act and save America.
We also have to look at the amendment to the Constitution that gave the people the right to elect their senators and not the state houses. Richard Sherman was the founding father who actually came up with the Connecticut Compromise.
Mhm.
And I don't think they realized it back in 1917 or 18 or whenever it was that they did, how much of an impact that was gonna
Yeah.
change everything. Because even though, Illinois would still get 2 Republican senators or Democrat senators, it would change a lot. Could you imagine if, say, in a Mississippi, Senator Wicker wasn't voting the way we wanted him, and you could have Governor Reeves say, "Come on back here, sir. We're gonna send somebody in."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ruffle a lot of feathers here, but we need to send Chris McDaniel to be our senator for a month or 2 and just to hammer it home, right? And you right now in the audience, you are hearing half this audience go, "Yeah!" You're hearing the other end, "No!" But that's how it's supposed to be. And the framers of the Constitution gave us the most perfect form of government outside of what's biblically been given to us.
Yep.
And we keep tinkering with it and trying to make it better, and we screw it up, and we just have to get back to that. It's just my opinion, but I saw this, I'm like, "Oh, I wanna talk to Brother Blake about
Yeah.
that." Hey, we gotta take our last commercial break of the show. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. yeah. The dulcet tones of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB with my man Blake Bartlam chiming in, giving us the Gen Z perspective on what's going on. Very
I'm
important.
trying.
Hey, it's important because, us Gen Xers, us latchkey kids, we're getting ready to hand off the baton. We didn't even have a president, for crying out loud. We're like, we're just leave us the heck alone. And, I think that kind of talks to like some of the black pill mentality. We just want to be left alone and do what we want to do, and we're going to be fine. And it's true. But what did we produce? Gen X has produced the millennials.
Yeah.
And we produced the Gen Zers. And that ain't looking too good, fam. So perhaps leaving us the heck alone was not the greatest thing to do. We didn't even get to talk about any of the other news stories. It was more of just like two friends catching up,
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court paves the way for the dismissal of the Steve Bannon contempt of Congress case. So he went to jail.
Good news there.
And he's going to do that. It just seems I got this ground news because they said that they show their bias.
Mm-hmm.
And they do show the bias, but everything is so far and skewed to the left. Yeah. It's really difficult for me to get in there and find stuff about that. But what's funny to me is that Trump is getting ready to make a speech here in about 4 minutes.
Yep.
And everybody is washing their hands about what he's going to say. I wonder, remember like how other presidents, specifically Obama, would give CBS News and everybody the speech beforehand so they knew what was going to say?
Yeah.
Do you think Trump does that with these guys?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think he enjoys like being able to control what the narrative is going to be for the next. I mean, honestly, he could say something obviously he said something on True Social yesterday and it's still dominating the whole news feed. So imagine how much he can shift the news narrative by saying something at a press conference.
That's just a truth that went around the world. Imagine when you get actual video.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's going to be intense. And I plan to listen to it.
He has the military with him as well. I would imagine Hegseth and the Joint Chief of Staff, and then probably some other people, undersecretary, stuff like that will be there. So
do you know CBS News, the radio CBS News refuses to call Pete Hegseth the Secretary of War?
I know. Yeah.
They still say it's the Secretary of Defense.
It's so petty. It's ridiculous.
I want to see them fail. And everybody's like, you want to see the media fail? You're against freedom.
Absolutely, I do.
You know what? When media can't even follow the basic rules of media, then they're not media anymore. They're propaganda. And we didn't really get a chance to talk about it because the time just flew by so quickly. But the propaganda is so strong. It is so good too.
Yeah.
We were talking about the colonel who had to go to SEER school in Fairchild Air Force. You just learn things there that I will never tell you about. I'm just going to say they call it Happy Valley for a reason, and we leave it at that. There's no violation of the rules. There's an oath. But once you see it and are taught things, you can spot it a mile away. And if we could just send Generation Z from, let's say, 19 and then everybody blow it to propaganda school, the world would be cooked.
Yeah.
We would be based as, well, I won't say the word, but everybody knows the based AF kind of thing right there. But man, it was awesome having you on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sad we missed it the last time, but we got it worked out this time. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, man.
I always enjoy it.
I got to talk to your history professor and see about you getting more days off just so we can go right over.
Absolutely.
Hey, Rankin County, do you think you can give Blake an extra day off so he can come run wild on WYAB? Lindsey Beckham's coming up next. Blake, I think you're hanging around for that one, maybe?
I think so.
That'd be really cool if it is. Lindsey's coming on next. She's always got a great show. That's the great thing about WYAB Radio. We're not this national news regurgitation station. We're giving you local news and the way it impacts you here locally. And that's what makes us the best. So until next time, everybody, take care, be blessed, and amen.
Have a good one. God bless y'all.